Hey, what's up? How you doing? It's your boy, Mad Scientist. Um, I know the people who are looking at this live are probably like, "Oh my God, it is 12:30 in the morning, West Coast." What kind of my lips are kind of ashy. What kind of live is this, Mad Scientist, where that you're doing this 12:30 in the morning, not at night, in the morning, right? Well, for those who don't know, um, I record these for my radio, for not my radio station, the radio station that I work for. I record these, I do them live, and so then it goes on my YouTube channel and all my social media sites, and then I take the audio and I give it to the radio station I work for, Power 97.5 LA, and then they play it 10 o'clock in the morning California time. So I still have to submit my my weekly um I still have to do my weekly show. But the reason why it's so late is because um man, I just been really focused on this tariff war. I mean, in my opinion, we might as well call it what it is. It's World War III. Okay, this is where we are at the beginning. In my thesis, in my opinion, we are at the beginning of World War III, and it won't be a physical war where people are fighting. It will be a tariff war, and so it's going to be World War III. I, so um, um, I want to be the type of DJ, producer, radio host that's well read, um, thoughtful. I mean, I'm not gonna be the DJ trying to like bring dictionaries to the club. I'm not bringing dictionaries to the club, but I do more than just go DJ at clubs. So when I'm on the airwaves, I'm usually, in some spaces where I am I have to know what I'm talking about, essentially. And so I have to do a lot of research. I have to do a lot of reading. I have to do a lot of searching for information. And so today, well, yesterday, April 4th was the beginning of what I am hypothesizing as the beginning of World War III, okay, with the Trump tariffs. So that's what I've been doing all day. I haven't been like not doing anything. Um, but I still have to do this. I still have to submit my program for just talking music. All right, so let me go ahead and get the introduction. Hey, what's up? This is Mad Scientist on the all new Power 97.5 LA. Today we are just talking music, where we bring you vital information about music production, promotion, and distribution every week right here, where we on Power 97.5 LA. Download the app from your favorite app store, either Apple, Google, or Amazon, or go to the website power975la.com. That's power975la.com. All right, for those who are watching me on YouTube channel, I know you guys are used to me reading the script. That's okay. It's okay. You see it. Everybody else hears it, but you see it. That's okay. All right. So we were in the middle of talking about, we call this segment that we do every week a marketing discussion, music marketing specifically. And I go between, promotion and production, and then I don't think we'll do distribution, but we'll go between. I don't hold me to that because in the future I might. But right now we're going between promotion and production. So we're going to start a production segment. In fact, I was going to go into a lot of the tools that we use in production and talk about why we need to use them. Um, because, and just to kind of give everybody an understanding for those who are just for the first time listening. For this specifically production series, I usually do a series like 3 to 4 videos in a series, and we're going to be talking about the tools that we use that we're going to need to know about. And I don't tell you the how. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to use a compressor. I'm not going to tell you how to use an EQ. I'm going to tell you the why. The major reason why is because um, the venues that we as hip hop, and I kind of focus on hip hop, even though all these things are applicable to any type of music, but specifically hip hop, is because hip hop is moving to different distribution spaces. And because it's different distribution spaces, there's going to be certain requirements, especially if you're doing these programs. I mean, if you're producing your music on your own. So you need to know specifically how to make your music loud. And so I typically will um I will over the series talk about how these tools are going to be used, why you need to use them so you can essentially make your music loud. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, cool. But then something happened. Kanye came out, he had an interview with DJ Academics. Now, during if you want to see the actual interview with DJ Academics, you can actually go online, go to YouTube, and there's a lot of people that have given their opinions about the actual interview. Okay, I didn't want to do that primarily because you know he, Kanye West is such a famous person that you're gonna have a million people talking about their opinion of the interview. Now, I saw the interview. Maybe I should look up to the camera. I saw the interview. I'm always looking, at the computer screen. I'm always looking at myself. I saw the interview, and throughout its entirety, I went through the whole thing. I can go through the interview because my emotional connection to Kanye West has already been severed. So Kanye West is no longer the Kanye West that we all, well, for me, emotionally, I'm not connected to him like I was when he first came out. Okay. So now he's just a thing that exists out there. I'm not a supporter. I'm not a detractor. I did go through a period of time where I didn't want to hear anything about Kanye West. Like, I just, he just so disappointed me. One of my favorite songs by Kanye West is Crack Music. And being an Africana Studies major, that song touched me, um, the way I'm pretty sure he intended it for for it to touch me. And I truly believed, that he believed in the music that he was, um, bringing out, putting out there. And to find out that, what he truly believes, like, it deeply disappointed me. So for a long time, I was not interested in hearing from Kanye West. I didn't want to listen to his music. It was a heartbreak that, it's like Van Lathan said, you're sitting here, we're listening to you, and you're just breaking our hearts. And I remember seeing that interview on TMZ, and I was simultaneously heartbroken. And then when he put on the red MAGA hat, I was just over it. So, and the crazy thing is, in the interview, he talked about that. Like, so many people walked away from him when he put on that red MAGA hat. People that he says he changed their lives. He did so much for them. So if you're like me, where you're just like, hey, what he does now doesn't affect me because I'm over old Kanye and he's never going to come back, then I would say go watch it. If you're still triggered by what swastika, yeah, he has it on, then if you're triggered by it, don't go watch it. I watch old World War II documentaries, so I see it all the time. I study, that era, so I see it all the time. If you're triggered by the KKK outfit, don't watch it. He has it on. I don't get triggered by that because again, I study history. So the KKK outfit does not trigger me. Um, if you are triggered by some of the things that he could say, he used the F word, and it's the derogatory term for um, a homosexual. He used that word, and hopefully I said it correct. I'm not trying to trigger anyone, but he used that word. So if you're triggered by that, he did use it openly. He didn't say F word. If you're triggered by the N word, don't go there because he used it. So this is a purely academic exercise. And if you're waiting for me to denounce him, go through, okay, that's not what I'm doing. Okay, that's not the exercise that I'm going through today. Um, what I'm doing today, what I want to accomplish today is to understand, to get past all of the rhetoric and um the rhetoric and the all the inflammatory things, and get down to the core essence. Now, I had a very interesting conversation with a friend who refused to watch the um the interview, and he's like, "Mad scientist, I know you're going to sit up here and tell me some theoretical academic point of view, and you might make a lot of sense, but I'm just not interested in hearing it." And my friend is African American. So, you know, and I said to him, I said, well, I'll sum it up to you like this, and I'll tell you guys, I'll sum it up to you like this. I believe that Kanye West has a point to make. The problem is that he doesn't know how. And he's over the years been practicing it. And I think one day we'll be shocked when he figures out how to say it in a non-destructive way. Okay. I'm not one of those people that think that he's mentally ill. He may have mental issues like a lot of people in this country. I think just by human nature, we're all little mentally ill. It's just some of us have the means to function through our mental illness. Some of us get professional help for our mental illness. And some people, they either go undiagnosed or their functionality wanes. They don't have as much functionality as some of us. But for the most part, we all do. I mean, I suffer from depression. I have, for me to be a great DJ, I tell people all the time, I have OCD. And that OCD, I suffer from depression. The good thing is, what makes OCD great for me, or the reason why I use it, because I can hyper focus on something. And anybody that knows me knows I obsess over really small details. And because of that, I tend to be better at what I do than most people because I hyper focus, right? I'm not going to let it go until it's done. And I'm not going to stop doing it until it's done. And then what's going to be done is going to be good because I know it's good because I've focused and I've just focused on it, right? I've obsessed over it. And then after I finish it, I go through depression. Now, I'm able to function, okay? But that mental illness exists, right? Right. Now, there's going to be some people who say, yeah, okay, mad scientist, I'm cool with that. But come on, like what he says is problematic and he ain't functioning. And I just kind of wanted to, for those who have me on YouTube, I kind of wanted to show you some things, but I'm going to read it. Okay. I'm going to read these things so that the people on YouTube will see me read it and the people on the radio will hear me read it, right? Um, I'm going to read to you about Mahatma Gandhi. Now, the reason why Mahatma Gandhi is well known in America, the nonviolent protest. Okay. Dr. Martin Luther King said he read about Gandhi and was inspired by Gandhi with the non-violent protests. And we see in this country Gandhi as a good person. As African American, we think, okay, well, Dr. King likes Gandhi. Gandhi must be the right guy. Um, but let's read about Gandhi. In the South African Gandhi, stretcher bear of empire. I can't if I'm saying this wrong. Desi and Vahed write that during his stay in Africa, that's Gandhi, Gandhi kept the Indian struggle separate from that of Africans and coloreds. They used this back in that time. They used the word coloreds. So Tyler wasn't wrong. Okay, so you guys got to stop being mad at Tyler. She's considered coloreds, right? Even though the latter were also denied political rights on the basis of color and could also lay claim to being British subjects. They write that Gandhi's political strategies, fighting to repeal unjust laws or freedom of movement or trade, carved out an exclusive Indian identity that relied on him taking up Indian issues in ways that cut Indians off from Africans, while his attitudes paralleled those of whites in the early years. Gandhi, the author writes, was indifferent to the plight of the indentured and believed that state power should remain in white hands and called Black Africans Kafirs, a derogatory term for a larger part of his stay in the country. So the reality is, Gandhi was racist in our time, right? Now, back then, you know, he might have felt like, hey, I'm here for India. You Kafirs over there got to do your own thing. But the fact of the matter is, Gandhi was racist. Now, in our time, we use Gandhi's tactics in order to protest, and we see Gandhi as a positive. Okay, let's talk about someone else. Okay, we're going to be talking about Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, not Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We're talking about Martin Luther, the person that Dr. Martin Luther King was named after. Okay, Martin Luther is considered the father of Protestant Christianity. If you are a Baptist, if you are a AME, African AME, if you are anything other than Catholic or Jewish in America, Martin Luther is your guy. He is the father of, Protestant Christian religions. Okay, I'm actually reading his biography, and it's very interesting. We won't go into that, but it's a very interesting biography. Reading is essential. Okay. In his early works, Martin Luther, discouraged mistreatment of the Jews and advocated their conversion by proving that the Old Testament could be shown to speak of Jesus Christ. This is very consistent with the book that I'm reading. Martin Luther started off in the Catholic Church. He was a member he was a priest in the Catholic Church. Okay, he broke away from the Catholic Church and began to hate the Catholic Church and began to develop a lot of what the Christian reforms that we see now. For example, the chapter I'm reading right now is where he started to develop, uh, he started getting married and encouraging other priests to get married. In fact, he married converted nuns. He would take the nuns that were in Catholic Church and convince them, hey, come over to this form of Christianity, and over here you can get married. Okay, which in the Catholic Church doesn't happen. Especially, can you imagine a Catholic priest getting married to a nun? That would be like blasphemy. Okay, as the Reformation continued, Luther lost hope in large scale Jewish conversions. So basically, he was trying to convert Jews to Christianity and grew more and more hostile towards the Jews. Okay. So Martin Luther became more anti Semitic over time because he essentially said, your Jewish religion, okay, your Jewish religion is wrong. And that's how he was. He's a very stubborn man. He's like, no, you're wrong. Okay. There was a Jesus Christ. Okay. And when the people of the Jewish faith said, nah, we're good. We're going to stay like this. Okay. Very anti Semitic. Why do I bring that up? Um, the reason why I bring this up is so that, a lot of people like to say, hey, if somebody's canceled, throw them away. And we leave it that way. And that's just historically how we have never handled people that way. Probably the closest person historically that we're just like, nah, we ain't messing with him at all. We don't see any value in this man at all is Hitler, right? And their regime. But there are still people who do study that particular time because what they're looking at is a lot of the innovations that came out of the German economy, right? One being the highway system, okay? Another one being the BMW, okay? So if you drive another one being a Volkswagen, okay? So if you know, there's people historically that we said, this person is very, very evil, but a lot of the stuff that we get and we use are from them. Okay. A lot of our industrial sciences comes out of Germany during that time. So just because we're studying a person doesn't mean we're advocating the actions of that person. What we're doing is we're studying the person to have a broader understanding. And so that's what I want to do. If you're just looking for somebody to get on live and just say, I hate Kanye and I hate everything he stands for, they got plenty of people have already done it. Dr. Lamont Hill's done it. You can check him out. Wayno's done it. You can check him out. Rob Markman's already done it. You can check him out. These are credible people who've already condemned Kanye. Okay. You want to see some people that say Kanye is a genius? Okay. Go to DJ Academic and you can see Whack 100. They see a certain genius in him. Okay. They see a certain positive in the relationship. And I think right now, academics is probably the few people who are kind of like still interacting with Kanye. I, I saw the reaction to the interview. I'm probably gonna watch the second part of the interview, but I'm not gonna just keep sitting there. Like I got what I needed out of it. Okay, I want to hear what Kanye West has to say. I heard it. I'm good. Okay. What I told my friend is that I think for the most part, we're going to find a time where we're going to see a time where Kanye West finally gets his message together and he's going to be in the right forum, maybe with the right journalist or the right academic, and he's going to be able to express himself. And that's what I want to get into. If you take away all the rhetoric and everything else, he has a point. He does not understand how to make his point through the noise because he's always used one technique in order to get his point across, which is chaos. It started off with Taylor Swift. Let me interrupt this. Everybody's watching this award show. Let me interrupt you and make a point. Good point, but why do you have to do it that way? Why did you have to do that? But it worked for him. Okay. Uh, a lot of black people championed him when he said, George Bush does not like black people. Okay. We championed him. We were like, yes, he's our guy. But he was very disruptive. He was not supposed to say that. He disrupted that broadcast and he tried to make his point. Kanye West, and we're going to get into the meat of the discussion. Kanye West probably has something he wants to say. He just doesn't know how to say it in a productive way, which will then break through. Because the fact of the matter is that many of us academics, many of us, um, those who study, um, we don't have our Stuart Scott yet. What do I mean by Stuart Scott? Before Stuart Scott went on to ESPN, sports television was boring. I mean, people went to go look at it, ESPN. But when Stuart Scott dropped on the scene, I went to school in the late 90s. When he came, it turned everything around. Sports television blew up, but it was factual, it was presented correctly, and at the end of the day, it blew up for everybody. Stuart Scott was a genius the way he presented sports television. And now you have Stephen A. Smith, who is a beneficiary of that, right? And a lot of people out there that are beneficiaries of Stuart Scott. The problem with the academic segment of hip hop is we don't have our Stuart Scott. So we tend to be filled, this space tends to be filled with people who are very entertaining, but not so factual. I think Charlemagne the God says, why tell the truth when a lie is way more entertaining? And we have that. Like one of the people I listen to out here is Glasses Malone. I listen to his his podcast on Twitter. He's very entertaining. Check him out. A lot of times he be dead wrong. I listen to Joe Budden podcast. Very entertaining, but many times dead wrong, right? And the thing about Joe Budden is he knows he's dead wrong. And but it's so entertaining. And even if they got Dr. Lamont Hill on the Joe Budden podcast, I said, how's this gonna fit? Like, it's not gonna fit. Like, I can watch Dr. Lamont Hill. You know, I'm an intellectual, I'm an academic, but it's not gonna work. But it worked very well because Dr. Lamont Hills has been able to say, the Dr. Lamont Hill you see on Al Jazeera, I'm not bringing that guy. The Dr. Lamont Hill that you see on Dr. Lamont Hill's on his podcast, I'm not bringing that guy. I'm bringing the regular dude that just, hey, I'm me. And we're not talking about all that deep stuff. Right. And so he just kind of fits in. So with hip hop, we have not found that Stuart Scott figure. I'm hoping to be that, but I don't know. We'll see. You guys tell me, right? I don't want to be the DJ Academic. DJ Academics is, listen, don't get it twisted. DJ Academic is highly intelligent. He's a freaking math major, okay? He went to Rutgers, right? Highly intelligent, okay? Highly intelligent. But he's figured out a way to get attention. And the way he gets attention is very destructive, right? But hey, it works. And it's hard to tell somebody who's made millions, hey, stop doing that because it's wrong, right? I would laugh at you. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm not going to do that, right? But I would laugh at you if you said that to DJ Academics. Hey, man, listen, you're way intelligent, too intelligent to be doing it that way. You could just come on here and just be intelligent and give us the same information. You'd hear me laughing at you in the back, okay? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to, this whole business that we're in, this whole ecosystem comes down to attention. And what I do, what a lot of us do in this academic, hemisphere does not get a lot of attention. Probably one of our most accomplished PhD doctors. There's two that come to mind. Dr. Santi out of Temple University. He's actively putting out videos. 500 views. I'm one too. I listen. 500 views. What about Dr. Carr? Right? Now he gets way more, but he does two shows. He does one on Roland Martin's network. 100 views. He does one with Karen Hunter. Now they get way more views. They get way more people, but it's 1,000. In class with Dr. Carr every Saturday. Yeah, I'm there. I listen to it, but you're not going to see maybe more than 1,200 people. Whereas You have DJ Academics, he'll have 300,000 viewers. Now, DJ Academics is not a PhD, way less information. If you want to get information, go to Dr. Carr or go to Dr. Asante. That's not what we do. We don't do that. So I'd laugh if you said, "Hey, DJ Academics, stop wilding out." It'll happen. I think the Stuart Scott of hip hop media will come. It's just a matter of time. It's gonna come. I already know that. It's just history. I read too much history. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of what we're talking about, which is Donda West. All right, let me go ahead and share this. Hold on. Dr. Donda West is, for those who don't know, is Kanye's mother. Okay. And so I kind of wanted to discuss her because I wanted to give you guys an idea of who Kanye West is. And you know who Kanye West is because he's very close to his mother. The difference between Kanye West and his mother is more educated, and his mother is not struggling with the same mental health issues, right? And I mean, she's a doctor. She's literally has a PhD. So obviously, if she were still alive, I, a lot of us feel like if she were still alive, we would not see this iteration of Kanye West. Okay. A lot of us feel that when his mom passed away, his his stability left. And a lot of people are like, he needs to get over her. You can't get over that stability. Like if you have that rock, that foundation that's been holding you up, and that foundation's gone, then that foundation's gone. Okay, that's the bottom line. Okay, so let's talk about Dr. Donda West. Um, she was born in 1949. She was an American educator and chair of the Chicago State University Department of English, Mass Communication, Media, and Theater. Okay, let me say that again. He was a chair of Chicago State University Department of English, Communications, Media, and Theater. That's his foundation. Okay, that is Kanye West, and she's the department chair. So you have to understand that Kanye West was a creation of, literally, biologically, and mentally, and socially, and academically, all these things that make Kanye West come out of Dr. Donda West. And if you look into Donda West, essentially you see Kanye. Now, she was raised in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the daughter of Lucille and Porterwood Williams Sr., okay, a civil rights activist. It doesn't take too much. Like when I read this, I was like, oh my God, there you go. Okay, now, am I calling Kanye West a civil rights activist? I'm not calling him a civil rights activist, but he was raised by civil rights activists. Okay, again, she is the foundation of who he is. She attended Douglas High School. Who's Douglas? Frederick Douglass, an activist. Okay, he's probably the most famous in his time. Frederick Douglass was the most famous black man of his time. Okay, I read his book. Very good book. It's foundation book of Africana studies. You got to read it. I'm not going to go into Frederick Douglass because I'm not trying to give you Africana studies lesson. But my family's from Oklahoma. Okay, and my mother actually took me back to Oklahoma, and it's a very small town. I can't remember the name of it, but it was very close to Tulsa. And both my mom and my dad came out of Oklahoma, deep roots in it. And the thing that you have to understand about Oklahoma is, and I did genetic tracing of my family, went back. I'm not going to go into all of that, but just to sum it up, Oklahoma was initially an um, the Indian territory. Okay, it was like you have the Trail of Tears. Okay, America said to all the Native Americans, "Hey, y'all going to this little area over here," and that area turned out to be Oklahoma. Another population that was there were, a lot of people don't know this, but the Indians. A lot of the Indians were enslaving Africans. Okay, they were also involved with the African, enslavement, you know, process, or I have another name for it, but I don't want to go into that. But they have people that they had enslaved. Also, in Oklahoma, Oklahoma is one of the states that were opened up for people to like come in and get land, right? Land grants. Okay. Um, so like Tom Cruise has a movie about it, Far and Away. Okay. You want to see from the white perspective, watch that movie, Far and Away. Very good movie. That's essentially they're going to Oklahoma. Okay. Also in that process was newly freed Africans. Okay, after the Civil War, they went into that area. So that was my family. Okay, after the period of enslavement, and then also you also had Native Americans that were there. You had people coming out of Mexico. So one side of my family, my mom's side, came out of Mexico, Central America. I found this out through my grandfather, and then my dad's side came from Texas, Georgia, Arkansas, Tennessee, into Oklahoma because they were giving away land. Okay. They were like, hey, go out there, get the land. If it's yours. So in Oklahoma, you have a lot of independent Black towns. Okay. Let me check my time. You have a ton of Black towns. Okay. You can look it up. I think there was like 24 all Black towns. Now, what happens, and this is stuff that I've learned through even through my family. On my dad's side, my grandmother was very, very much wanting my when they left Oklahoma, 'cause they had to leave Oklahoma. A lot of Black people had to leave Oklahoma. But again, we're not going to history. We had to leave Oklahoma. They came to California. If it were up to my grandmother, we would I would still be, and the whole family would be in Chowchilla, California right now, which is near Fresno. Okay. We'd all be in Chowchilla owning all that land. So the mindset of the people that went to Oklahoma was African independence. These were not the people who said, hey, I want to integrate with other white people. These were people who said, hey, we can all get together, make our own towns, make our own communities, and we can thrive. The most famous of those communities is Tulsa, okay, the Greenwood district of Tulsa. Okay, so we know about the Tulsa race riots. So, what that says, that gives us some insight into the thinking of Kanye West, his lineage here in America, where they were looking for independence and Black wealth. Okay, that was their foundation. Another thing that you'll find in Oklahoma is an abundance of universities named after famous Black people. So you have the Douglas High School. You also have my mom always talked about Booker T. Washington, right? She didn't want to go to that university because of her reasons, which I'm not going to state, but she didn't want. So that was one of the reasons why she came out here to California. Okay. But if you ever go to Oklahoma, you'll find that a lot of Native American influence and a lot of Black, famous Black people influence in Oklahoma. I know in this time, we see it as a red state, and we kind of think red state is a lot of white people, rural white people, but no, the white people that were there, that came there, were coming there for land. And after oil was discovered, then it just became a white man's dream to go to Oklahoma. In fact, um, not the Rockefeller, yeah, the Rockefellers. That's where they got the start. Oklahoma, okay, oil. Another good movie about the Osage enemies, Indians. Who is that? Leonardo DiCaprio's in that movie. Watch that movie. Okay, history is great. It'll give you all the answers. That's the great thing about history. If you're ever confused about anything, just go through history books and you'll find the answer. All right. Now she earned her high school. She went to Douglas High School, Frederick Douglass High School. Then she went and got her bachelor's degree in English. Okay, which if you know anybody from from Oklahoma, that's going to make perfect sense. She wanted to be an educator. Okay. So she knew she wanted to be an educator. Okay. And then she got her bachelor's degree from Virginia Union University, which is a historically black university in Richmond, Virginia. Okay. Which probably makes sense because there's a lot of historically black universities, especially coming out of that area. And then she got her PhD, her doctorate degree from Auburn University. Okay. It says on here, she and her father took part in the Catch Drug Store sit-in in Oklahoma City. So at an early age, 1958, how old was she? 49, 1958. Uh, so she's like 9 years old, and she's being a part of drugstore sit-ins in Oklahoma. So she's an activist at 9. Okay. So it's who she is. Okay. At the same time, she's an educator. She is an educator. And what is she focusing in? Her professional life is focused on English, communications, media, and theater. Okay. Again, I want to bring this up because I focus on the why. Why, right? Not the how to. I'm not trying to show you how to study. I focus on the why. Why is Kanye West this way? Where's he getting? One of my favorite songs that he wrote was Crack Music. Where do you get this from? Like, how does he know this? Well, Dr. Donda West. Okay. If you go listen to the song, you'll see Dr. Donda West. That's his foundation. Okay. Um, so I kind of wanted to give you guys some background as to who Dr. Donda West is and the why. So I think we can summarize who she is as someone who is highly educated. Um, let me stop. Someone who's highly educated, number one. Someone who is an educator. Okay, so she's a teacher. So if she's going to have a son, she's going to teach anyone. She's going to teach her son. Okay, and then what is she teaching her son? Right, mass communication, theater, how to speak, how to talk, how to communicate, because that is her professional specialty. Okay. That's what she's going to teach her son, what she knows. Okay. At the same time, she has a perspective, which is a unique perspective, because we've kind of, after the 70s, we've kind of been living in a very multicultural society, some of us. Uh, but she has a perspective from segregation. What does that mean? I grew up in Compton. Now, a lot of people have their thoughts about Compton. I feel like I pretty much got the best education I could have gotten because I went to Compton Unified School District. Why? A lot of people would be like, why? I don't understand this. Isn't Compton like lower? I went to Marion Anderson Elementary. Um, for those who don't know who Marion Anderson is, Google it. Okay. We don't have a lot of time. I've had black teachers my entire life. I've never, until I went to college, I was never told that I couldn't do anything. In fact, I was told I was the smartest kid in the class. You need to focus. You're the smartest kid in this class. Why don't you just focus? You'd be so intelligent. That was what I heard my entire life from kindergarten. One of my best friends, his mom was my teacher. Okay. So, and then she's a black woman. Her husband was a sergeant in the Navy. We called him Sarge. If my friends ever hear me talk about that, they'll laugh. So these were very intelligent black people who were very proud to be black. My father, my parents, they're very proud to be black. I didn't have an issue with being black and being proud to be black until I went to college, right? So, and because I came from a segregated community, the only people I saw were black people and Mexican people. And that's all that mattered to me. I didn't have any issues until I mean, we saw white policemen, but they were only policemen. And then we saw Korean shopkeepers, but we didn't interact with them. The church was a Baptist church, all black people. And the only issues we had were inter community issues, but it was never black is not good enough. That's never what I heard until I went to college. And then I had to navigate through all that. Okay. Not to say I never saw racism. Yeah. I mean, we went outside of Compton and, like I played soccer in North Torrance and I got called the N word, but it didn't have the same kind of effect because I wasn't living with them. It was like, all right, well, we gonna fight it out, right? Because I'm not gonna be scared of y'all. Scared of the guys I live with, but I'm not scared of y'all, right? So it's a different mindset when you come from a segregated community of black people, and that's where his mom came from. And his mom was putting into him a sense of security from day one. So again, when I started reading more and more about his mom, I was like, I understand Kanye West. I don't say I agree with him, but I understand. And it allowed me to separate all the rhetoric because I'm educated. I understand what rhetoric is. He spouts a lot of rhetoric and rhetoric is literally something that you do. Like you develop rhetoric. All the great speakers have their message intertwined with rhetoric. Malcolm X, he's very good at a message and then putting a lot of rhetoric. Usually, if a person is boring, is because it's a lot of message and no rhetoric. If a person's exciting, they have a lot of rhetoric. Rhetoric is the secret sauce, right? Rhetoric is the thing that makes you laugh. Rhetoric is the thing that makes you angry. Rhetoric is the thing that gives you emotion. So, what I do with Kanye is I tear away all the rhetoric and I look at his message. Now, my theory, let's go into because I have about what 8 more minutes. Okay. Um, let's go into what my hypothesis, not theory. A lot of people say theory, they use that word theory, but if you look up the word theory, theory is something that has been proven and it's not something that you're just thinking of. It's more of a hypothesis, right? And what I'm going through is a scientific method, right? In order to develop a theory, but I could be wrong. My theory has to be written, has to be published. I mean, my hypothesis has to be written, published, and then peer reviewed, and then accepted by a broader community in order for it to become a theory, because a theory was like facts. All right. So my hypothesis with Kanye West. Historically, if you look at America, historically, what has held black people where they are, for all those people, for all my immigrant friends who say, why haven't you guys gotten to the point where you need to be? You've been in this country, like my DNA's been in this country since 1776. Why are you not wealthy like everybody else? Right. And, most of the time I say to them, yeah, you're from that country, but you never had or maybe your country did have the might of the United States come down and try to stop you, i.e., Haiti. Okay. So if you're from the Caribbean talking about what's wrong with you Black Americans, I could look back at you and say, what's wrong with you Caribbeans? Uh, Look, no hate. I love Caribbeans, right? But my point is that you have the might of America and its allies going against you is very hard to prosper. I'm looking at you, Cuba, right? Cuba don't got nothing because America's gonna make sure it don't. Central America, same thing. Okay. So at the time, at prior to this period of time, at the time of enslavement, I think there was like 4 million African Americans with no weapons who did try. I don't care what Math Hoffa or anybody else tell you. There was over 400, revolts by Africans. Okay, so please don't listen to those people who tell you that Africans just sat there and chose to be enslaved. No, we did not. But you have to understand this is the American, not only the government, but you have the government, you have the army, and you have the greater society who's all interest in keeping you in your place. Okay. It's very hard to get out of that. Now, once we got freedom, the one thing that we did not have, we had a lot of product. And at the time, that meant cotton. Okay. My parents, they used to pick cotton. They made a lot of money picking cotton. Cotton made a ton of money. My dad told me he became independent at 14 by picking cotton. His brothers and sisters were all educated. All of them educated, went to college, private college. Okay. Shout out to in Huntsville, Alabama, Oakwood Academy, Seventh Day Adventist. All right. My mom's side Baptist. We went my mom's side Baptist, but my dad's side, Seventh Day Adventist. And they all paid for that private school education. How? Picking cotton. So there was a lot of money in cotton. But what happened is that a lot of African Americans, all African Americans, did not have access to the broader market. You had to have contacts with England, essentially. With England, that's where you did all the all the cotton, um, where they process the cotton to make clothes, and then they send it over to India, okay, China, and other places around the world as clothes or cloth. Okay, that's basically what it was. We were the cotton. We picked the cotton, and then they took the cotton, sent it to New York. New York brokers sent it over to uh, over to England, and then England sent it out to the world. African Americans did not have access to that market. So therefore, they struggled with the whole process. Very similar to music that we have, and this is how we're tying it in. Very similar to the music industry. A lot of us can make the music, but we don't have access to the broader market. We can't take what we make and put it out there without a production company financing it, a record label curating it, and then a distribution company putting it out there to the world through its various points of distribution. Even today, right now, as I sit here, we don't have access directly to Spotify or to Apple Music. We have to go through an aggregator, TuneCore, CD Baby. Soon those companies will be out, and we'll have to go through Universal, Warner, and um, and Sony. We will be forced to do that. We don't have access to the broader market. And so I feel like Kanye West is trying to destroy the relationship between the artist, the producer, the record label, and the distributor so that the artist can go straight to the broader market. So he's trying to tear it down. Now, I could say that Kanye could do it. I could study it. Kanye could do it. How? Well, I will discuss it. Not today. I just want to just go into Donda West. But I will discuss that. How? And the relationships. You just have to keep listening. Okay. And yes, there is a long history of that attempting to be done. Kanye West is just the newest iteration of this. Will he be successful? you'll have to come and listen when I do that show. For today, I'm going to thank everyone for listening. Thank you so much for coming through every week. This is what we do, okay, right here on our little radio station. Oh my God, this is Mad Scientist on the all new Power 97.5 LA. And today we are just talking music. I want to thank everybody who came through today, who's listening. Please, I'm on the radio station every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Okay. You can download the app. I need to change this down here because I have, for those on YouTube, you know what I mean. But there is an app that we have. It is the Power 975 LA Radio app. You can download the app from your favorite app store or go to the website. But you can go get the app, put it on your phone. I have it on my phone. It's you can go to Apple, you can go to Google, or you can go to Amazon. Get the app, download it. That way, no matter where we are, you can take us. You could be at the beach, listening to Mad Scientist and his crazy theories about, Kanye West, right? If you have any comments, feel free to comment. I do, like if you're on YouTube, I do respond to the comments. It's actually me, it's not a bot. I'm not paying somebody to comment. If you want to have a discussion about it, we can maybe one day have a broader discussion about it and ask questions. It had to be on YouTube and then record it, and then I'll send it over to the radio station. But we can do all that. Just let me know, right? And that way you can sit here and tell me I'm crazy. I'm just trying to humanize Kanye West. I'm not trying to humanize Kanye West. It's just like I said, when you read history, when you read history, when you understand um, that human beings repeat the same behavior all over and over and over again. Like you date the same guys, you're like, the next time we'll date a different guy. And yet there he is, same guy. He's just different body, right? Human beings do the same thing. So if you ever want to know the future, you just study the past. And that's what I do. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much for coming through once again. I appreciate y'all. And I will see y'all next week. What?